Welcome back to another edition of the Pagcast. I'm your host, Michael Pagani, joined alongside Owen Sound Attack forward Cedrick Guindon. Cedrick, welcome to the Pagcast. Thank you again for coming on.
Yeah, thanks. Anytime.
How have you been doing recently? You know, we just spoke off camera that you were playing golf. You picked that up in the past couple of years. It must be nice getting back on the course in such a beautiful day.
Yeah, I mean, it's awesome. The summer has been really good, right? Like so far, just staying in shape, hitting a gym, hitting the ice, and obviously just to get my mind off things, hit the golf course with somebody. So it's always a fun time for sure.
Have you been keeping up with the OHL playoffs?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, once we got eliminated, it's always kind of fun to see who the team that kicked you out is, how they're doing, right? So we kind of followed Flynn along until they were out the playoffs, and then I have a lot of buddies throughout the league that I was supporting, obviously for their own good. So yeah, I mean, we followed it. Happy for Hamilton. Congrats to them for winning the championship, and now we're just watching a bit of the Mem Cup. So
I mean, that Mem Cup is so exciting. William Dufour came off a 4-goal performance earlier today. I love junior hockey. I love that game today. I've been following it closely. It's been a great tournament.
yeah, for sure, exactly.
Who was your biggest influence to get into hockey?
I'd have to say my older brother. I mean, he's the first one that has that put on the skates in my family. So he was kind of the reason why I started playing hockey, and him being 3 years older than me was always kind of me looking up to him. And then he was always a good player, but then decided to move along with other things. And then I just kept playing hockey. So, but he's definitely the biggest influence on me.
I guess that's the one edge you have over your brother, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Was there a player growing up who you wanted to model your game after?
Well, I mean, my favorite player growing up was always like Jason Spezza with the Ottawa Senators. I remember watching him play. He was like him and Donald Alfredson were so excited to watch. And then growing up older, I was a big fan of Jean-Gabriel Pajot. I think that's who I try to model my game after. Right now, he's really a great player, and just smaller guy that just works off. Just works his butt off. Sorry. So it's really exciting to see him play and kind of see the way that I can match his game. So
Well, I mean, you just mentioned a couple of, Senators players who did really well in that uniform. Like, did you become a Senators fan growing up?
I mean, I'm from Ottawa, right? So that was my local team watching growing up. So it was always putting on TV, watching Ottawa play. And but as we got closer to the NHL draft, you kind of get that out of your mind. So I kind of treat every team equally, but Ottawa was that team growing up that I always watched play.
Did you happen to see any Sens games growing up?
Yeah, I mean, it was kind of usually my birthday gift from my aunt. So she was a season ticket holder, so she'd bring me out on my birthday. So it's kind of a yearly thing. I'd go at least once, and then with all the hockey, I'd play in the season, and we didn't really have time to go that much. But it was always a thing I had to do at least once every year.
I guess getting into a bit of your career here now, one of the, fun things that I found researching you was you were invited to play in the Pro Hockey Selects tournament in 2019. And, that featured Ty Nelson and David Goyette, who had fantastic seasons for themselves. What was your biggest takeaway from that tournament?
Honestly, at that time, just getting a chance to play with good players at that age was what I got from that. And it's not every time that you get the chance to play with good players like that at a young age. So you kind of get put in situations that you're usually not in your winter team. So it was great tournaments with those guys, and it was always fun playing with those guys.
Did that kind of give you an early glimpse of what playing in the OHL would be like?
Yeah, sort of. I mean, when you get in a faster paced game at a young age with the top players from your country and stuff, you don't get a taste of what the OHL is, right? But you kind of get a taste of what it's like playing against and with guys that are better than you. So, because my local league back home was always, I was always one of the bigger fishes in that pond, right? So, and then once you get put in a bigger pond with a lot of bigger fish, that's when you kind of realize what it's like moving on to the next step.
It always pushes you to develop better, right?
Exactly. It always kind of gives you a good idea of where you need to be to stay one of the top guys, right?
Well, let's talk about your hometown team there. Picking up on that point, you were part of the leadership team for the Rockland Nationals in the 2019-20 season. Can you speak to what that means to yourself as a confidence booster?
Yeah, I mean, I always thought I was a pretty good leader in the room and on the ice. So for me, coming in that season with older guys on the team was kind of just a development season and trying to do good for my OHL draft season at that time. So just learning how to be a good leader and always keeping to be a good example in the dressing room and stuff was great to learn at that age.
In that same year, you participated in the Youth Olympic Games. Lots of players dream of representing their home country. What does it mean for you to don the Team Canada jersey?
Yeah, it's always, I mean, it's such an honor, right? It's like it's a dream come true. And once I got my name called for that team, I was shocked and was really happy. So it's just about preparing yourself and kind of having a mentality of going there to win, and besides being too excited to be there. So you kind of have to, calm down a bit and just embrace it. And so, no, wearing the maple leaf is always it's always an honor, and it's just a feeling I can't really explain, right? It's crazy.
You guys earned a bronze medal from that tournament. It's obvious that's not what you guys wanted from the start, but can you speak to how that tournament made you a more mature player?
Yeah, I mean, you have guys on that team like Connor Bedard. Well, not Connor Bedard at that time. He was at the U18, sorry. But you had guys like Fantilli and Matt Savoy, Ty Nelson, like you mentioned, Denton Matejchuk, right? Those are all like projected first round picks. So at that time, they were like had a really big gap between them and other players. So you kind of go there and kind of learn from them, get the chance to buddy up and everything. They become family, and they were great teammates at that time. So you go in there and you just try to learn the most and try to have fun, right? That's the most important thing. Like you go there and it's different. It's another game. So it's just hockey. So
What's it like playing on the bigger ice? Like you must have been there first game, like, holy shit, this is so big. Like I'm not used to this.
yeah, I mean, it's like you kind of realize when you down the puck in the corner and you retrieve it, because you're like, oh my god, the feels like the back of the net and everything is so much bigger. It's kind of easier in a way where like you don't get hit as much just because you have more room to escape from situations, right? So you kind of get like, I find I got tired a bit quicker though. That's the hardest thing. Like the pace is faster. There's less heading, and it's more like of a skilled game because there's so much room out there. But it's definitely a big difference once you like realize like, oh my god, like I have way more room than back home. So
What's it also like you guys also played USA? Like that must have been huge for you.
yeah, it's like literally one of those like throwbacks from the Olympics when Canada played USA. That's how it felt for me. That game was as big as that game for me, right? All the boys, obviously we lost by 1 goal. It was a very close game, but that was a crazy experience where it was, I think, 9,500 fans in the building. It was loud. It was all mostly kids from school, so it was just the first time I got a taste of what it was like to play on the big stage, right? So
And that must have gone you dialed in, like seeing that on the schedule, like, oh my god, I'm gonna play USA. I finally get to actually play in the rivalry.
yeah, exactly. It's you kind of know some guys on the other side too. You play against so many of them with them in spring hockey that it's kind of like, all right, this is it. We're battling, right? So it's just it's a big battle, and it's like going to war. Just strap on your boots and you go play. So
One of the better things that came from the pandemic for you was getting drafted 10th overall in the OHL draft to the Attack. How did you celebrate that moment?
obviously it was kind of difficult with all that was going on at that time. But for me, it was like a big personal achievement, and for my family as well. It's such a great organization, and looking back at it, I'm so grateful for it. It's a great spot, great staff, everything. So we'd obviously celebrate it as a family and with friends, but at that time it was kind of harder to look at things, and so just with all that was going on. So
In the season leading up to the draft, did you feel any pressure at all from scouts watching your games?
Yeah, yes and no. I mean, for me, as my like first OHL season, you kind of want to go in there and develop as a player and get adjusted. So for me, that was kind of just the mentality I had, and obviously you set yourself some personal goals and team goals, so that's your main priority, and obviously getting drafted is one of them. So I kind of, I put pressure on myself, but the main thing was just improvement, and as long as I had improvement all season long, I was going to be out happy with the outcome I had. So, and looking back at it, all I saw was me going up with my game. So whatever happens at the draft happens, and I'm pretty confident that I left it out all on the ice, and I did what I had to do. So I just gotta keep working hard to improve for next season and the season after, right? So
Well, let's talk about this season. 59 points in 68 games. 30 of those 59 were goals. What was your first OHL goal like?
I mean, I kind of remember, it's kind of a funny story. We're losing something like 7-2 against Guelph, total blowout, and home game. It was the third game of the season, so I was kind of wanted to take that weight off my shoulders, but I kind of got a lucky bounce where the puck was supposed to get dumped in our zone, hit a skate, went back. I was like on a 2-on-0 basically with me, Sam Sedley, and the goalie, and I was right ahead of Sam, so I just looked at the net and shot it, and for some reason it went in on one of my buddies, Jacob Osser from back home. So my first goal was the same game as his first OHL win. So it's
Oh,
kind of
wow.
yeah,
Wow.
exactly. So
That's,
it's kind
oh
of
my God, that's the twist.
yeah, exactly. It's kind of something when I tell people how that happened. It's kind of a funny story to tell, just because obviously I was happy for him to get his first win, but against us, I wasn't too happy with the blowout. But getting that first goal on him in his first win was kind of funny for us.
I'm trying to think of who has the right bragging rights. I mean, it's like
Yeah.
both of you guys do. He has the win, but you have the goal.
I mean, the real brag is us winning the season series. So
Exactly. There
that's
you
the real
go.
brag, right? So that's what I always come back to if he brings it up.
Exactly. See, that's what, and that's what is most important, right? Is
Yeah,
winning the whole series. It's not winning the one game.
yeah, exactly.
When things start clicking for you, and I guess this kind of talks about your confidence boost that you had this whole season, how do you remain level headed or how do you remain confident? Because there are so many ups and downs throughout one season.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, obviously when you hit the Christmas break time, it's the game kind of steps up after, and then once you hit the playoff, that's even another step higher. So throughout that whole time, you get ups and downs, and you get hot and you get cold. But like I said that earlier, improvement is key. So as long as you're improving, the rest is gonna come. So even if I'd get on those cold streaks where things wouldn't go as like the way I wanted to, I always just come back to my original game, which is just to play hard and try to improve and practice and just work harder off the ice. So that's kind of how I got out of it. And obviously there's ups and downs, but as long as the team's doing good, that's all that matters, right? So like I think at some point we went on an 8-game losing streak, but then we went on like something like a 15-game point streak as a team. So, there's downs and then there's highs, and you just got to learn from both. Like going on a down, you got to just learn from it. So how you can turn that into wins. So
How did you deal with all of the like postponements and I guess rescheduling that? Yeah, that's the same word, but because like this whole season was wild. Like we started without fans, then there were fans, then there weren't fans, and then we're dealing with COVID postponements. And to see a season that finally got played, it must have felt good as a player that the commissioner was committed to a full 68 game season.
yeah, I mean, in my opinion, it's a mental thing and also a physical thing in a way, right? You always got to be ready to play. So for us, we just treated every game as if it was going to be played. So, and that's how you got to look at things. So we were obviously kind of disappointed when there was those postponements, and then it was just us getting ready, like pregame practice, just bus rides or anything, right? You just always got to be ready, and no matter what, you just in your head you have to tell yourself that you're to be ready to play big games. So sometimes you'd hear rumors and stuff going on. You just got to block that away and kind of focus on what the goal is. And it was kind of, we were lucky to have the OHL running things and going through a 68 game season like we did. That was huge for us, and obviously we like weren't really expecting that, to be honest, right?
Yeah.
But kind of just sticking to it with them made things easier. So
Well, it must have been because like you guys we had the season canceled last year. There was
yeah,
no OHL hockey, which is garbage,
yeah,
considering that the Q and the Dub found ways to play. And I was even scared that there was going to be no OHL season, because then I'm hearing like, okay, this team has COVID tests and this team has, and it's like, oh my God, like, oh no, what are we going to do here?
yeah. It's obviously kind of we had so many false hopes and rumors going on the year before that. When we came in the season, we're like, all right, if they're committed to us playing, like, they better give us a full 68 game season with what we had to go through the season before, right? But obviously we understand with COVID how it wasn't easy to run things, but we were just happy that we were able to get through the whole season. And I'd say especially at the Christmas break point, like, things started to calm down in a way where the mask mandates and all that crap going on got taken away. So once that was out, everything went smooth, and it's going to be like that next year and the years moving on. So
Well, I mean, especially as a rookie for you, like you haven't even played the whole league yet. So is there kind of a team that you're looking forward to playing most next year?
definitely the Ottawa 67s. I
Oh
mean,
yeah.
the first thing I did actually was kind of look. Well, like, I found out who the home opener was, and then I went straight to when am I going to be in Ottawa? So my parents are already looking at booking everything for that. The closer I am in the East, like from Ottawa, the better it is for my parents, obviously.
Yeah.
So they'll have the chance to see me play more. So, and obviously for friends too. But it was kind of just it was exciting to see the schedule, just because it's so much different from last year. It's like seeing that we don't have to play Guelph 12 times this year
It
is
must
kind
have
of
gone so boring.
yeah,
It's
it's
like, give
kind
me a
of
new team.
yeah. I mean, I kind of love playing Guelph. I mean, I usually had like decent games against them. Like, they were a fun team. But, like, I'll be honest, they were like a fun team to play against. They were pretty like we had some good games against them, but definitely London is one of those teams that I'm also happy when we don't have to play 10 times. So yeah, I mean, it was kind of exciting just to see me going closer to home, like Kingston and Ottawa. So
Your jersey number was number 11. Is there a story behind it?
Um, yeah, kind of like I said earlier, my favorite players while growing up was big Jason Spezza fan.
Yeah.
And then I wore 19 as a kid, like before my AAA years. And so I always wore number 19 because of him. And then Barrett Curran, who was an overager before the COVID year, had 19, and I didn't want to interfere with that.
Oh,
So I
you do
kind of
not want to mess with the overagers.
exactly. You don't want to, you don't even think about it. You just let them do their thing. So
Yeah.
it didn't even come, like, as soon as I saw an overager had number 19, I immediately accepted it and wasn't even bothered by
Yeah.
it. So and then my another one of my good players I like was Daniel Alfredson, right?
Mhm.
So and he was number 11, and my brother always wore an 11 growing up, and I thought, wow, like, it's a really good, like, in my opinion, it's one of the best numbers out there.
It's a nasty number.
Yeah, I find it good, the double ones. And yeah, I just went for a new I said new season, new path, just new number, and see where that brings me, right? So
Let's talk about the playoffs here for a quick second. You know, you had 4 points in 7 games, but as a rookie, like I mentioned all along, what's it like playing in that do or die seventh game?
it's it's hockey, right? It's a game of bounces and a game of preparation. And that game, I think Flynn just had one extra lucky bounce than us, and they won the game, they won the series. But if we were to go back and play that game in Owen Sound, maybe it would have been a different result, right? In my opinion, I don't think the better team won that series. I think it was such a close series that anyone could have taken it, and they were just got those extra. They were a much older team than us, and other people expected them to win that series easily. But I think we turned a lot of heads with the battle we gave them, and even being up 2-1 at one point and then coming back. It was great for us as a young team to learn from the future as well. So
Since this is your first playoffs, did you notice that there is less time and space out there?
yeah, definitely, right? Like you kind of line match a bit more than regular season. So you kind of pre-scout teams more. You only have one team to play against in two like a span of 2 weeks. So you kind of get used to their style of play, and you do adjustments when things don't go right. And so all of that means that there's less time and space, right? So it's definitely not easy playing against guys like Hoffman, Kappen, who are laying the body around, playing a high skill pace game. So it's a big adjustment for guys like me. But with what we learned in the results, I mean, we're just trying to do better next year, and I'm confident that we will. So
You're a draft prospect for this upcoming draft. How did this season help you prepare for that?
I mean, like I said earlier, like preparation and the mental side of things, and even like improvement. Like I said, it's just every year you're getting older, getting better. You just gotta stay focused on stuff. So obviously, the season prepared me for the draft and for what it takes to get to the next level. And so everything is kind of given to you, and it's just whether you're gonna take it or not. And the goal is just to keep improving and be ready to play against grown men. So
Did you happen to get invited to the combine?
no, I mean I kind of knew like early enough in the year that I wasn't invited, and if they would have made the selection maybe later in the year, maybe I would have got invited. I don't know. I still had the chance to talk to teams this year, going to stuff, right? And I'm just waiting for July 8 right now, and kind of hoping to see what how things are going to turn out for me.
What was it like talking to NHL teams like this? That must have been like so like legit for you. Like, oh my God, this is my first shot.
Yeah, I mean it's obviously kind of like the OHL draft, but on another level. Like the
Yeah.
OHL draft, you kind of learn how to talk to scouts and how to what to say, what not to say. And then at the NHL level, they're really more they get deeper in questions, and they kind of focus on things that could throw you off or whatever. And there's like certain teams that were harder interviews than others, and there's a couple of teams that just try to throw you off, but then there's other teams, right, that they just want to see what kind of kid you are and try to get to know you. So it's obviously that's also like a life lesson in there, right? It's just learning how to be yourself and how to talk. So
It's all a mental game, like we've been talking about this whole time.
yeah, yeah, it's all it can help you or can also put you on the no draft list. So it is what it is.
As we're closing off this interview here, do you have any advice for younger hockey players?
For me, it's just to believe in yourself and just know that with hard work, it pays off. Like that's all I gotta say. Hard work really does pays off, and as cliche as it sounds, it's true. Guys kind of get carried away from it during the season. They try to score goals. When things don't go right, they try to change things, get carried away from their game. But my biggest advice is kind of know what you're good at and know what your weaknesses are and work around that, right? And just improve and work hard.
Well, I'd like to thank again Cedrick Guindon for joining me on today's Pagcast. Thank you again, Cedrick.
Yeah, anytime. Appreciate it.